are starting chapter 6 today on solving inequalities with using addition and subtraction. So a graph of an inequality, if we have x is less than 3, we start at 3 on a number line, and when it's just less than or just greater than, we use an open circle because it's not including that number. And if we're less than 3, then it needs to be all the numbers that are less than 3, so to the left of 3. Now if we had x is greater than or equal to -1, we find -1, and since it's or equal to, we include it. Now it's all the numbers that are bigger, so it's to the right. The highest temperature recorded in the United States was 134 degrees in Death Valley in 1913. Use only this fact to write and graph an inequality that describes the temperatures. So we have that our temperatures have always been less than or equal to 134 since that was the biggest temperature. So now I'm going to need to figure out what labels to use on our graph here. Start in the middle at about 100, go by tens, 110, 120, 130, 140, 50, 160, and then go back down the other way. 80, 60, 40. So we have to identify where 134 would be. It would be approximately right here. And we are including 134. And then it's all the numbers that are smaller to the left. Write an inequality that's represented by the graph. So let me sketch the graph, and then we got to figure out what the inequality is. Okay, the top one. That looks like it's at about -6 2/3, -6 1/2 maybe, and we're everything greater than that, so x is greater than. Let's go with -6 1/2 just to make it a little easier. And the bottom one starts at 4, but it's everything that's smaller than 4, but we have a closed circle, so that means that we're equal to as well. Okay, the addition property of inequality. Adding a number to both sides of an inequality makes an equivalent inequality. So we can do that just like with equations. Okay, so solve this inequality and graph your solution. So we have x minus 5 is greater than -3.5, so we have to add 5 to both sides to get that x alone, just like we would have to with equations. Then graph your solution, find 1.5. It's everything greater than that. Next one, x minus 9 is less than or equal to 3. Add 9. X is less than or equal to 12. So we have to pick numbers on this one. Okay, we identify where 12 is, and it's or equal to, so we close the circle. It's everything less than that. Next one, p minus 9.2 is less than -5. We need to add 9.2 to both sides. -5 plus 9.2 is 4.2. So figure out where 4.2 is, put an open circle because we're not including 4.2, and it's everything less than that, so that's to the left. Subtraction property of inequality. Same thing as addition, only with subtraction. Subtracting a number from both sides makes an equivalent inequality. So 9 is greater than or equal to 7 plus x. We need to get the 7 away, so we subtract it from both sides. 2 is greater than or equal to x. We need to identify where 2 is. Close circle. And if 2 is greater than or equal to x, that means that it's all the numbers that are smaller than 2. Careful with that wording. Y plus 5.5 is greater than 6. We need to get rid of that 5.5, so we need to subtract it. So y is greater than 0.5. That's everything bigger, so to the right. You are checking a bag at an airport. Bags can weigh no more than 50 pounds. If your bag weighs 16.8 pounds, find the possible weights W in pounds that you can add to the bag. Oops. So we have the current weight of the bag plus what you can add on. And that has to be less than or equal to what the weight limit is. So we have 16.8. We don't know what we can add, but it has to be less than or equal to 50. Now we can figure out what that W is. Subtract 16.8 from both sides, and your weight has to be less than or equal to 33.2 additional pounds. And that was it for section 6.1, adding and subtracting inequalities.